The Seventh Night. When the seventh night came, and the sea murmured beneath the moon, Scheherazade bowed before King Shahryar and said, "O King of Time, when the fisherman finished the tale of the Greek king and the physician Douban, the Jinni said, 'You have spoken truth, O man. Continue, that I may learn more from the hearts of mortals.' And the fisherman began another tale, saying, 'Listen, O spirit of flame, the tale of the Enchanted Prince. There was once a poor fisherman who cast his net into the sea and drew forth fish of wondrous hue, crimson as coral, blue as lapis, white as pearl, and yellow as the desert sun. They shimmered in his net like living gems, and he marveled at the sight. Never before had mortal eyes beheld such creatures. He carried them to his king, who cried in astonishment, 'Such marvels my eyes have never seen.' The king ordered the fish cooked at once. But when the cook maiden set them upon the fire, the wall of the kitchen shuddered. It opened as though a door of air had formed, and through it stepped a woman of radiant beauty, her hair a river of night, her gaze bright with sorrow and hidden power. She looked upon the fish and said, 'O fish, are you faithful to your covenant?' The fish raised their jeweled heads and answered in one voice, 'Yes, yes, we are true.' At once she overturned the pan. The flames hissed, and the woman vanished into nothingness. The cook fainted from terror, and the scent of burnt spices filled the hall. When the king heard of this, he summoned the fisherman and asked, 'Where did you find such creatures?' The fisherman bowed low. 'In a lake between 4 mountains, my lord, beyond the desert's end, in the realm of the Sapphire Isles.' The king gathered his guard and rode forth until he reached that valley. There, he found a lake shining like molten sapphire, so still that the clouds seemed trapped upon its surface. No bird called, no breeze stirred, and even the horses trembled as though the air itself carried a memory of grief. Beside the shore stood a palace of black marble, its gates half open and silent. The king entered and found a youth seated upon a golden throne. But half the young man's body was living flesh, and the other half was cold, unyielding stone. The king said softly, 'Who has done this to you, O youth?' The prince raised his living eye and replied, 'My father was king of the Sapphire Isles. When he died, I ruled in peace and took to wife my cousin, fair in face but false in heart. For 3 years we lived in joy, until one night I learned she betrayed me with a slave who dwelt beneath our palace. I struck the man, thinking him dead, but she found him still breathing and, by her sorcery, restored him. Then she cursed the city. My people became fish in the lake, my palace black stone, and I, half man, half statue, left to endure her vengeance. Each day she comes to strike me and ask if I repent, then descends to her lover who lies beneath the earth, living though he cannot move. And so my tears feed the lake, and my people dream within its depths, waiting for release. The king's heart ached. 'By the Almighty,' he said, I will not depart until I end your torment." That night, the king hid behind the marble pillars. At midnight, the torches flickered, and the sorceress entered, radiant as the moon, terrible as flame. In her hand was a whip of fire, and her voice was like music turned to glass. She struck the prince and cried, "Are you repentant now, faithless husband?" Then, from the shadows, the king sprang forth, shouting, "Wicked woman, the hour of justice has come." Before she could cast her spell, his sword flashed, and her cry was swallowed by silence. For a heartbeat, the whole palace seemed to sigh. At that instant, a thunderous sound rose from the lake. The waters shimmered, the fish became men, the city turned from black to green, and the prince's stony half came alive. He fell to his knees, weeping, and said, "You have delivered me and my people from her curse." The king raised him and said, "Give thanks to the Most High, who sends justice through unseen hands." The prince offered him his throne, but the king answered, "Rule your land with wisdom, and remember that deceit and envy are the poison of the soul." And so, the king returned to his realm and rewarded the fisherman richly, saying, "Your tale has brought blessing to both kings and kingdoms." Scheherazade lifted her eyes to Shahryar. Her voice was soft as the sea beyond the garden walls. "And thus, O king, the curse was broken, the city restored, and the fisherman's story became a lamp within the Jinni's heart. Yet though envy may be conquered, wrath can still undo the wise. Tomorrow, O king, I shall tell you the tale of the king and his faithful falcon, a story of loyalty tested by haste, and of a ruler who learned that mercy must walk before anger. The night deepened. The moon drifted westward, casting silver upon the palace walls. The sea whispered beyond the gardens, and King Shahryar sat long in thought as Scheherazade's voice faded like a tide returning to the eternal sea. Thus ended the seventh night.